Kenya is well known for its unblemished tropical beaches, touched only by the scorching rays of the sun and the lapping of the Indian Ocean waves. 30 kilometers north of Malindi lies Kinyaole Island, also known as Robinson Island, one of hundreds of remote oases of paradise hidden along this vast coastline. From the beaches of this serene island, looking out across the Indian Ocean, the only signs of the modern world are the occasional container ship and Africa's only satellite launch platform. It is an apparently idyllic scene. But looking the other way, towards the mainland, the ugly scars of the greed of man are plain to see. Short-sighted development is destroying the environment on which the island's 500 inhabitants and thousands more on the mainland depend. This is the story of a remarkable woman who first visited Robinson Island as a tourist, fell in love with it, and has been fighting for its ecology and the livelihoods of its people ever since.
I came to Robinson Island as a tourist 25 years ago, and I remember us living through the mangrove forest to reach the island. It was a beautiful sight, surrounded by a mangrove forest.
The 5 square kilometer island is separated from the mainland by a narrow creek. The creek is filling with silt.
We would like the siltation to be removed from the creek, because that siltation will only develop into mangrove growing into the creek, and then the creek will completely silt up. We will not have any means of fishing in this creek anymore.
In the early 1980s, the Kenya government approved the construction of the first of many salt factories along the coastline opposite Robinson Island. Permission was granted without an adequate assessment of the environmental impact. The short-sighted decision has been disastrous to the area. Hundreds of thousands of hectares of productive, biologically diverse mangrove forests, a wetland ecosystem of immeasurable importance, have been turned into a barren desert of salt pans.
The community here mainly depended on the mangroves as a cash crop, also the mangrove being the nursery in the creek for our fish, and the livelihood actually rotated around the vegetation and the natural resource that we have got here.
Fishing, the source of livelihood for all the communities along the coast, has been devastated. A haven for migratory birds and turtles has been lost. And the waste from the salt-making process has turned all the wells in the vicinity brackish.
Until 2 years ago, we were getting water in here and around the buffer zone. We used to get fresh water. But up to 2 years ago, the fresh water disappeared, and every borehole that we dug, we hit salt water.
The salt companies now have to bring fresh water in on trucks. The villagers from the mainland have a choice: to buy water from the salt companies or walk to Robinson Island, the only remaining source of fresh water. Goody Bucket was born and raised far away from Robinson Island, but was so upset by the degradation of the area's environment that she decided to take on the authorities single-handedly to restore a paradise lost. Goody's campaign has borne fruit. She has opened a dialogue with the salt mining companies. She has constructed a primary school on the island and is working with schools on the mainland to form environmental clubs to develop their own tree nurseries. To date, 150,000 of a target of 1 million mangroves have been planted. She has fearlessly fought off land grabbers and taken her campaign to the highest levels of government. Through the Public Complaints Committee, Goody has successfully drawn the attention of the government to the area's plight. As a result, the National Environment Management Authority has drawn up a list of recommendations, the most important of which is that Robinson Island be declared a protected area.
We know we have fine laws in Kenya, and our wish is to have these laws implemented. This is what is missing. The laws are really fine, but on the ground they are not being implemented. That's our wish. We would like these laws implemented.
Goody Bucket's achievements are an inspiration to everyone working to achieve the United Nations goals of reversing environmental degradation and improving the health and livelihoods of the poor of the world.
We received the proposal from Robinson Island, and it was of interest because it touched on areas that were of concern, like international waters, biodiversity, conservation, and climate change. And a very important component of that was that they mentioned working with communities.
Thanks to Goody Bucket, the future now looks brighter for the people and the environment of Robinson Island. Her achievements make her a deserved winner for the United Nations Kenya Person of the Year for 2003.
We are not giving up. We would like to see it how it used to be, and we are determined to bring it back to its original status, whatever it takes.